Welcome back to the Road to National series. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through a lower max workout. So my max variation for this week was a 6-inch block pull. So my previous best on this was 280 kilos, and I did that last October just after my competition in September, where I pulled 270 kilos for an actual deadlift. This week I was feeling like I really wanted to try and hit 300 kilos. I feel like that would be a huge milestone, so I went for it here. It was a bit of a grind, but I didn't actually hitch and I managed to lock it out there. So I was massively happy with this PR. This has been the most meaningful and important PR to me since this series began and in general, because obviously if you're not able to lock a weight out, you're not going to be able to pull it from the ground. So for me, like 6-inch block pulls and 3-inch block pulls, which I've been doing a lot of recently, are really indicative to how successful I'm going to be, particularly because my sticking point is usually the lockout of a deadlift, and my weakness is normally I try to hitch and I can't quite lock it out. So I didn't hitch that 300 kilos there. I think my positioning off the blocks was really good. And the fact that I hit it pretty smoothly, I'm just so happy, and hopefully I'm going to carry that through and develop my strength through a deeper range of motion until it's off the floor. And I want to try and deadlift 300 kilos this year in competition. I'm looking at a competition in December, so I've got about 4 months to do that. So anyway, very excited about that, as you could see from my celebrations afterwards. Then moving on to the first accessory here, I did heavy belt squats. So the heaviest I've gone before is 300 kilos, and I think I got sets of only 6s on that. And this week I managed to get 6 sets of 6s at 350 kilos. Now that was exceptionally challenging, but I'm just trying to work on my leg drive, particularly out of the bottom. Like all of my quads, everything, my adductors as well, felt massively under pressure whilst doing those belt squats, but they went very well. Obviously a huge PR for me again, and I'm hoping to try and build up near like 400 kilo belt squats. The issue is I'm sort of running out of plates now, but I'll be able to find something. Just trying to develop that leg drive, which should obviously help the squats but also the deadlift as well. So happy with those. Then moving on to the next accessory here, I decided to go for heavy hamstring curls. So the heaviest I've ever done before is 90 pounds. So I went one up on my weight stack at 100 pounds. And I think I got 2 sets of 5 per leg. Now you'll see there I'm having to shift the machine back into position because on the right hand side, because of where the weight stack is positioned on the right hand side of the machine, when I do the right leg, it actually shifts the thing. I think I might need to bolt it to the ground in general just to make the machine more stable, but they felt very heavy. Watching it back, it feels like I didn't do a full range of motion, but it felt like I did at the time. It's definitely still overloading the hamstrings, even if it's through a slightly smaller range of motion, the heaviest I ever have done. And I literally couldn't even have moved that weight last time I did 90 pounds even, because that was like right at the maximum of my capability. So I was happy with those hamstring curls again. Then moving on to calf raises, I did 300 kilo calf raises for 2 sets of 14, I think. Now I have done 300 kilo calf raises before. It's the heaviest I've ever done using this belt squat. Of course, I don't think I could do it in a different manner. And these felt very challenging. Again, the range of motion's probably a bit limited. I'm just doing these off the floor. I'm not doing them off an elevated block. The reason for that as well is I don't even think I could get into position and get my feet up on the elevated block. Trying to get the weight stack up just to start calf raising is really hard for these. But my calves were feeling a bit tender the day afterwards, so overloading it very heavy seems to have at least made some sort of an impact and applied a new training stimulus, as opposed to me just doing loads of sets of like 10 to 20 at like 100 to 200 kilos. So I was happy with those calf raises as well. Then the next movement was hip adduction. So I've been doing a lot of roller hip adductions throughout the series. That is my favorite variation. For those who don't know what that is, it's similar to a sort of ab roller where you put one foot down and then you try and go all the way down to the splits and all the way back up. But today I wanted to try cable hip adductions, and the reason for that is I did cable abductions in my deload week, and it just felt really good on this cable weight stack. Now, abductions work a little bit better because I'm standing next to the machine, sort of where the leg rollers are for the quad extension, and pushing away for the abductions, whereas these adductions, you can see I'm sort of standing on where my band pegs are on the rack. It's a little more awkward, but it still felt great using this cable stack. Like I said in the deload week, I haven't been doing this variation just because I had an ankle strap, but the Velcro was rubbish. Like, it would snap after 30 pounds, which is way too light. Obviously here, my working weight for 2 sets of 10, I think it was, is 60 pounds. So 30 pounds was just too light. But I just realized sometimes it happens where you realize like there is an easy practical solution. I just used this heavy, like, I think it's technically a car towing a strap or something like that, but anyway, I used that and I was able to do them, and it's great to have linear resistance throughout the range of motion. The only other variation of adductions I've been doing have been banded ones, and obviously the band is much harder the further you stretch it. So those cable adductions felt really good as well. And then moving on to the final accessory here, it is reverse hypers. As always, just 2 sets of 150 kilos for 15 reps. So again, I say this every time I do them, but this is just to build up the posterior chain and really pump it up. The back, the upper back, the glutes, the hamstrings, everything feeling good. And I do attribute this to helping always make my back feel fine. Like after the deadlift, when I used to deadlift, I'd feel like DOMs in my back and sort of painful ones. I don't think it was great when I first got into deadlifting, but now strengthening my posterior chain up, even after that 300 kilo block pull, which I managed to do today, everything felt fine. Like, it was very minimal impact on me the day after at the time of recording this. So yeah, everything has gone smooth. A very heavy workout. That's always what I try to do the first week back after a deload week. So that is why everything has been trying to push the weight this session. And I'm just so happy with that block pull max. So that is it for today's video. I hope you did in fact enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop it a comment, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff, and I hope you have a great day.